Hello everybody, welcome back. So it's fair to say, I think, at this point now, and again, we're waiting for tonight's closure, but it's fair to say that Bitcoin appears to have broken out then right now. So I think the breakout has more or less been confirmed. You got that trend signal on the daily itchy cloud. You got the one that we're waiting for tonight, which seems to be baked in for the weekly itchy cloud as well. So things are looking good for Bitcoin. Let's put it that way. Probably next week I'll be looking for 70s to get hit in the lower 70s, and maybe by the end of the week, if not the following weeks after that, the upper 70s. We'll see what happens. Throughout. Again, this is probably it's at that exact moment when it dumps back down to the lower 60s. But like I say, that's what it looks like to me at the moment. It looks that way. We've been saying that all week. Now we're seeing it for real. Next week should have some continuation based on how it appears right now. But we're going to think about altcoins, and I think it's fair to say that altcoins can't really do anything without a collective move, mostly driven by Ethereum. So Ethereum's not the worst chart you've ever seen in the world, but it's certainly not the best. It's been slow and steady, but compared to like some of his other altcoin friends with much better chart setups, yeah, it's dragging its feet. So we've got our golden cross 4 hour, we've got our pump signal that's played. We're sort of fannying around at the top here, making a rising wedge, or you could even call it a pizza, or you could call it a situation where you're probably going to break down from it and retest some of these lower moving averages, like a golden cross. Maybe the 50, maybe the 200. They're not the biggest moves you've ever seen in the world, but a formation like this, more likely to break down before it goes up again. So it might be that we see altcoins come down in the short term, even if Bitcoin goes up. That's what we were saying about the situation in 2020, where that exact sort of thing happened. Now Bitcoin could also come down, and then that would allow for Ethereum to do this move regardless. But it does look to me that this is the situation for Ethereum, and what's Ethereum going to do is probably going to be mimicked by other coins. So we've got bearish divergence all the way up of this pizza, which is probably going to break down, and I'd be looking for a position to take around 2,500 long position, because it is technically the beginning of a bullish trend, but this is a bearish formation with bearish divergence. So it is what it is. So that being Ethereum, let's think about what we're seeing over here on the total 2, which is all the altcoins combined. We're seeing the same thing, aren't we? More or less the same thing. A little bit more bullish. It's not a pizza. We have broken out of that kind of formation. We are trending up as far as this is concerned. We've got a trend signal as well on the 4 hourly itchy cloud here. The daily is still sort of like within the descending triangle, the giant consolidation formation that we've had since March, which is fine. It's not broken out yet. We've not broken bullish, and my expectation for altcoins is that we will break out bullish at some point this year into next year, and all of this will be left in the dirt, and it will be one sort of little blip on the chart by the end of it. But for the moment, descending trend line is the 200 simple moving average, is the resistance, is likely to reject you, more likely to reject you than break out on the first attempt. But once that has successfully broken out, we'd be looking for a nice big move up here, reclaiming these highs, and then going on to new all-time highs. So this is why I'm always trying to say, reflect on your portfolio balance and just allow for that to go up slowly but surely, and then at some point dramatically. Trying to overtrade these choppy areas, especially for altcoins, you might just end up cheating yourself out of particularly tasty gains later on down the line. Trading chops is good, especially in bear markets or consolidations and things like that. Dead cat bounces or particular periods of rallies. But at this stage now, it should really be about holding throughout. Obviously, trading is great, and I have to trade to release profit each month so I can pay the bills and stuff. But I'm absolutely confident that the biggest amount of money that I will probably make is going to be through the overall hodl now, from this point now till this point next year. That's most likely going to bring home way more money than all of the trades that I'll be doing day to day, week to week combined. So I don't want to lose focus on that. So there's your total 2. Let's have a look at the others chart. which is basically the small caps outside of the top 10. And we'll see how this one's shaping up. So this one is actually better looking. And it's not surprising, actually, because it's taking Ethereum out of the mix. It's taking XRP out of the mix. You know, it's taking some of these laggers that I'm not saying are bad coins. I own both of them. And they take up a large part of my portfolio, actually, to be fair. But they are certainly not helping the total 2 move. Or the total 3, because again, XRP is a relatively large market cap compared to other coins. So what we're seeing here is a better looking chart. I mean, it's basically doing the same thing. We're looking for this to get broken, this 200 simple moving average, to help us basically at that point reclaim these areas like what is standard practice. Reclaim it, bounce, bounce, bounce up. So we've still got a fair bit of time to go. This is what I'm saying, between now and this time next year, this is most likely going to be bounce, bounce, up, beyond previous all-time highs. But it is the same. It is basically the same, although it's slightly better. And look, we're going back onto the weekly. We're above, and again for this week is retested and closing above the 20 moving average, the 21, the 50, the 10. In fact, every single one of them. And we reflect on the fact that we had a 200 exponential golden cross retest all the way back down here into September. This does look good for continuation on a weekly. You might even say that this is a breakout based on the Bollinger Band Center, but might be a bit too early. So I'm going to put it to you now that altcoins have still got a little bit of momentum to pick up, really. And Bitcoin could quite easily leave everybody in the dirt for a period of weeks, maybe even months, allowing for the Bitcoin dominance chart to rise, right? So we were expecting, or I say expecting, we were hoping, but there was an indication that we could have got alt season at 58.5% dominance. We still might. Remember, this isn't a heavily traded chart, this is a guide. We still might get that rejection. There's evidence for it. But if we don't, my best guess would be we'll see the dominance chart rise to around 62, 63, 64, that kind of area before the next major possible rejection where you get the big alt season. So how long will that take, I hear you ask? Well, we're currently sitting here. That's a rise on the dominance chart of another 8%. 8% is 8%. It doesn't give you an idea of time. I have no idea how long it would take for it to go up there. But if Bitcoin was to outperform significantly like it did in 2020, leaving the altcoins behind, it could happen actually really quite quickly. So this is what happened in 2020 when we saw that big breakout for Bitcoin. We rallied from 58.5% dominance all the way to the 72 to 73, which is the major top. That took 3 months. So the first initial rally into the 62, 63, actually that was 9%. That took a couple of months. And then, it took about 3 or 4 months really to do a 26% move. We could be looking for something similar. I don't think we're going to go up here. I think the market is too saturated with altcoins and to allow for the dominance chart to go up there, but I could be wrong. So I'll be looking for it to probably rise up to this point if we are going to do this, maybe a month or two, so towards the end of the year. So it would have kind of feels very much like a 2020 kind of vibe, really. So Bitcoin potentially going to break out. I mean, it has broken out already. If we continue with this breakout, we'll see a big breakout. You see Bitcoin run into the 70s, 80s. Are we going to say it? The $100,000 Bitcoin. You know what will happen when that happens, don't you? Everyone's going to go, oh, $250,000 Bitcoin, don't you know? And everyone's going to go and buy it. It's going to be all over the news. It's going to be, and then maybe at that point, we will get some kind of confidence back into, what do we call them? Retailers. The people who are scared, and quite rightly so, since the FTX situation and all this sort of nonsense that takes place regularly within crypto. It's right to be scared of it, to be honest with you. It is right to be scared of Bitcoin and crypto exchanges. I get contacted all the time for all these low-end crypto exchanges. They always want me to pump, oh, can you just talk about the argument? I'm like, look, I can't. I will only promote what I know, what I use. Okay, I can't, I just, and look, the chances of it imploding one day, very high. If it can happen to FTX, it can happen to anyone, really, especially the low-end ones. So, all I'm saying is that the retailers will hear the words $100,000 Bitcoin and trending, and they will go off and they will buy Pepe 2 or something like that. You know, it's time to buy. That's the nature of the market. It's just that's just the way it is. The money has to come from somewhere, and it comes from the people who are uninformed about the nature of when and why and what to buy. Which is why I'm constantly saying your portfolio should all be set in stone now. You know, and if these people are going to come into the market, they will be buying your coins from you at much higher prices. And it's sad, but that is, you know, this is how all markets work. You have to sell to somebody else who's prepared to buy coins at high prices. We don't want to do that. We've bought all the coins, or we should have got all the coins we want at the low prices. And then we sell to those guys, which is, again, you know, it's just the nature of it. I know it's kind of awful, but it's the way it works. Right, so, I mean, that is it. There's nothing much more to say. You know, dominance chart trending up, Bitcoin broken out, Ethereum dragging its feet, total 2 not yet broken out. It seems to me that Bitcoin is going to lead the pack. We're going to see a big move on Bitcoin, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, but certainly over the next few weeks, Bitcoin is going to break out and outperform the altcoins until further notice. And then when we finally get up to this kind of area, rotate that Bitcoin, whether it's a $100,000 Bitcoin or whatever, stick it into some altcoins if they have good setups. If they don't, just chill out. You know, if they should just chill out. But that's probably how we're going to work. So if you're interested to know more, look at the charts of 2020. So from September 2020 for Bitcoin and September 2020 for all the altcoins, and just try and picture what that was like if you weren't there at the time, or just take yourself back historically. And recognise that altcoins can basically do zero. They can do nothing while Bitcoin does that, and that has happened before, and it probably is going to happen again. But that doesn't mean that your entry points that you've had from the last few weeks, or even now, are not amazing entry points. It just might mean that there's a delayed fuse for you on those altcoins before Bitcoin has finished its run. And like I was saying yesterday, it's going to be choppy, so be prepared to handle that chop. Right, leave it with you there. Excuse me, leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. We have a nice day. Take it easy.